All right, everybody, good afternoon. We've got a little more Jack Westover content to come over here. And this time we're going to be taking a look at some notes that I have from when I watched his tape. And with these UDFA guys, I'm usually just focusing in on one game, I think. And in this case, I don't feel the need to go beyond one game because I watched this guy's entire career during the actual games because he played for the team that I watch every week. So I don't feel the need to go super deep here with multiple games. We're just going to do one game, and I picked out his game against the Utah Utes this most recent season. Once again, I'm not putting the clips on screen because YouTube doesn't like it when I do that. Last time I tried to do that, they just didn't let me even show the video. It wasn't even like, oh, they demonetized me. No, they just didn't let me do it. And I'm going to put a lot of work into a video that nobody might be able to see. I'm just not going to do that. So, let's take a look at what he did against the Utah Utes. And even though it's just one game, I took a lot of notes. So that's another reason why I didn't feel like I needed a second game. So, first play of the game, very first play, he goes in motion from the slot, going from right to left to basically be the lead blocker for a run play. And immediately it gets really weird because he's coming out from right to left and there's a free edge rusher right in front of him that he should be blocking to free up the play. And instead of getting that guy who is literally right in front of him, he just goes upfield and helps to double team a different defender. So the running play gets blown up by the free edge player. I don't know, it just looked really weird. It's like he got in his head that I got to go double team this guy no matter what I see in front of me when I'm going over there, and it made him look not very good. It made him look like he didn't really know what he was doing. It made him look like he just went and blocked the wrong guy. So that was not a good start. Second play, he does the same thing. He double teams a pass rusher again, despite a free rusher coming off the edge. I do think that it's possible that this one was planned because the running back was there to pick up the blitzer. The running back just kind of got beat and gave up pressure. So it's possible that Westover knew what he was doing and he knew getting the double team was more important because the running back could pick up the blitzer. I'm not sure. I'm not sure about that one, but it again looked like he picked the wrong guy to me. But without being in the huddle, hard to know for sure. And the third play, he runs a go route up the seam from the slot and gets behind the defense. He does not get targeted, but he does actually just run a straight seam route, and to my eye, potentially could have been open. All right, so next drive that he's out there for, he gets targeted on a wheel route with pre-snap right to left motion for a head start. And this was inside the 10-yard line where he got thrown to on the wheel route. It's almost like they're doing arena football stuff with the head starts they give him pre-snap by having him go in motion. And it seems like something that he's really good at. He has an easy touchdown, but the defender grabs him and basically tackles him with the ball in the air, so it draws the penalty, gets the ball inside the 2-yard line. So would have caught a touchdown on this play if not for getting grabbed. So did his job. Next drive, lines up wide, 5-yard comebacker. He's given a massive cushion by the defense. It's basically a free 5-yard completion with probably a couple yards of yak, but the running back blows a block. Penix is pressured, inaccurate pass, falls incomplete out of bounds. Westover never had a chance. So we're seeing him line up wide here and actually be utilized lined up wide. He's not just a pure distraction. Not too long after, he runs another seam route from the slot. So we're seeing him run those routes a lot. He's just not getting targeted very much. It's part of his skill set, which is why I say, even though his average depth of target at Washington was very low, and even though he was mostly used for checkdowns and dump-offs, I do think that in the NFL he could potentially find success as a guy who runs seam routes and actually gets targeted down the field. The few times he was targeted, he did what seemed to be pretty well. He tracked the ball well, he ran under the ball well. It's just not something that Washington did a ton because they had such good receivers. Throws a nice block on the edge on a play-action bootleg, just one of those plays where he's almost like the bodyguard of Penix. He's just running out in front of him and throwing a block on a guy to help keep Penix clean. And We see more routes being run deep up the field, up the seam, those seam routes. And again, he's usually not getting targeted, but not too long before halftime, he does get targeted on one over the middle, 25-yard pass up the seam. He was well covered, and Penix threw a back shoulder pass, so he had to go back to get it, and he did it. So it was actually a really nice play, really nice catch, and it was about a 25-yard pickup on a play right before halftime. So he shows you that he does have a little bit of downfield playmaking ability. I don't think it's going to be like elite or anything like that, but I think that the fact that he didn't get to do it very often in college was more circumstantial. You're playing with Odunze, McMillan, and Polk. You're just not going to get those opportunities that much, especially because Penix's favorite thing to do ultimately was to just throw it up to Odunze and have him go get the ball. So there might be some untapped stuff there. More pre-snap motion to get a running start for a lead block for a pitch going over to the left. Throws a good block actually on this play. I did think he threw a nice square block that would have worked, but the play got blown up behind him, unrelated to what he was doing. A little bit later, he seals the edge on a run play behind him near the goal line for a touchdown. For the most part, Washington in this game, and I think in general, didn't run behind Westover that often. They wanted to run opposite him and have him be a little bit more of a diminished part of the blocking because he's not that good at it. But on this play, they did run behind him, and I thought he did a pretty good job sealing the edge. 4-yard out route on the next drive, very soft coverage, easy catch going out of bounds. Just one of those plays you run as a quarterback when you don't feel like anything's going to be open downfield and you just want to get some positive yards. And then the very next play, a 4-yard curl route, basically the same exact thing, except he turns inside instead of outside, and then picks up an extra 7 yards in yak, so he gets the first down. And then the very next play, he catches another curl route, or basically a curl route. He basically just runs out a few yards and then turns back towards his quarterback, and the defense is giving it to him for free. Easy comebacker, 5-yard pickup. They could do this all day. They're not going to because they love the deep ball in Washington, but they're basically just giving Westover free catches, which, I mean, it's cool to see that he's reliable enough to do that kind of stuff, and he understands how to sit down in the hole in the zone, and he understands how to help his quarterback. At the same time, this stuff is easy. This stuff is like kid stuff. This is baby town frolics, and they're not even making him work hard. On a very crucial 4th and 4, right before the end of the half, he fakes like he's going to block, and then he leaks out to the right side as a safety valve over the middle, and he gets open. And he catches the check down and runs for an extra 10 yards for a first down. This was a crucial 4th and 4 because Utah's offense ended up going off in this game, and Washington had to scramble to keep up offensively. So they went for it on a 4th and 4, and Westover was able to pick it up. Unfortunately, I think it got called back on an unrelated penalty. So, unfortunately, Washington ended up punting anyway. But in terms of what Westover did on the play, he did exactly what he was supposed to do. Fakes like he's blocking so they don't think he's going to go out and catch a pass. Gets open as a check down and picks up the first down, no problem. Little bit later in the second, I think this was still the second quarter, he lead blocks on more pre-snap motion across the line for a running play. This was the first play of the third quarter, actually. I thought that things were set up well for him to throw a block on defender to spring Dillon Johnson for a longer run, but he was a little bit hesitant on getting up on his man. So what happened is that Dillon Johnson ended up kind of running past him before Westover could really get a good block. Now, he still was able to assist with a partial block, but it looked like he should have been very aggressive in running up to throw the block. He had his man, Dillon Johnson, right behind him. Just go up there, hit the guy, and you're good. But he didn't get up there fast enough, and because of that, only threw a partial block, even though it still ended up basically working. Gets his man down to the ground on a block for a running play to his side. I think his man was a defensive back, so it's a little bit easier than taking down a lineman or a linebacker, but he was able to throw a block to get his man down to the ground. Very next play, slides off his man on a stretch run, causing a quick tackle. He had the play set up for him, and he just kind of didn't lay a clean block, didn't get square with him, and his man ended up getting the tackle. and he just didn't seem all that comfortable trying to block in space overall. It seems to me that while he can do it to a certain extent, there are a lot of plays where it just seems like he doesn't totally know where he's supposed to be, doesn't totally know what he's supposed to do, ends up sliding off, ends up throwing a not very square block. Some of it is technique, he can improve, but some of it is also just physically he's not there with other tight ends in this league. So trying to block in space is just, in theory, it looks good, but in practice, it's not great. There's another fourth down conversion attempt by Washington, and Westover makes a great catch on the play. He leaks out on what it kind of looks like a wheel route, but he's running it from tight end. It's almost like the fade to the back of the end zone play, except it's not near the end zone. He gets behind the defender, the throw is behind him, and he adjusts to make a great catch that Washington may not win this game without. He makes a great play to reach behind him for the ball after leaking out on the pseudo wheel route. Awesome play. That's the kind of stuff Westover can do. He's not going to be a great blocker. He's not going to be an every down player. He's probably not even going to be able to play inline at all. But he's reliable in these big situations to make short catches that pick up crucial third and fourth downs. Next play, he gets a bubble screen, but there's no blocking, so he only gets 1 yard. He's not somebody who's going to make people miss or run them over. 3rd and 3 run, runs a fake inside, goes outside, so it's like a zigzag route where he fakes like he's going to run an inside crosser, and then he goes outside and then catches a 4-yard pass for a first down. So over and over again, in crucial spots, Washington is looking to him as the receiver. And this is, by the way, on the drive where Washington was basically trying to put the game away. They're up a touchdown midway through the fourth quarter. They're trying to end the game basically by scoring. So he catches a big play on 3rd and 3. On a big blitz, he throws a pretty good block, not a great block, but a good enough block from inline to buy enough time for a throw that ends up getting completed. So he is showing a little bit of something here as a blocker. Again, I don't think anything about his blocking is great, but there's reason to believe he could become capable at it. Left into block from inline on a crucial 3rd and 9 helps chip an edge rusher. It ends up getting converted, by the way. I think the throw went to Polk, if I remember correctly. But it was interesting. On 3rd and 9, they leave him into block. Maybe they just feel like he's not going to be as valuable on a 3rd and long, and they just have him chip an edge rusher. A little bit later, he seals the edge for a cutback run of about 13 yards. Mostly, he used the defender's momentum to just push him out of the lane and free up a lane for Dillon Johnson to run through. And a little bit later, he assists in clearing out a hole for a running play as Washington tries to end it. And he ends up throwing, actually, I will say this, the key block on a 4th and 1 Wildcat. Basically clears the way for Dillon Johnson to pick up a 4th and 1 on a Wildcat. There was one snap at the end of this game. It might have been the last play or second to last play. It was very, very weird. It was a run up the middle, basically just to take up time and set up the chip shot field goal to effectively end the game. So the play is a run up the middle, and Westover runs out into the flat like he's expecting a pass. Maybe he was just trying to distract the defense, but by the time he gets out in the flat, the running back's already past the line of scrimmage, so I don't know if that's going to work. I don't know. It's like he got the wrong play call, or maybe there was some kind of misdirection trickery going on here, but it was weird. It didn't look like he knew what he was supposed to do to me. So overall, this was one of his best games of the year as a receiver. He made several big catches, and he showed playmaking ability. But even in this game, which was his most prolific receiving game of the year last year, I think, you can see, like, as a blocker, he is a work in progress, and that work in progress may never be anything more than average because he's just not physically there. All right. That's what I got for this Utah tape, though. There is some stuff here that should excite people. He's part of the plans for the future, I think. Excited to see what happens. All right. I'll see you guys later. Go Hawks. Let me know what you think. Another UDFA coming tomorrow.